All right, let's get into it. Well, it feels like a Friday.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
Kind of. But either way, it's Friday.
Yeah.
And welcome to the Warfighter Tobacco Podcast. Where
number 4.
Is it?
Yeah. Number 4.
Okay. Episode 4.
Yeah.
Where we're going to talk about cigars and things.
And things. Mostly things.
And a little bit of cigars. So we'll jump right into it. We just so happen to grab the same cigar today. Just different sizes. We're both smoking a 556 Garrison Corojo. And I have a Robusto, which is a 5x52. And it looks like you're smoking a 660.
I am.
And then I grabbed one of our Victory cigars as a backup.
I grabbed a 660 thinking I wouldn't need a backup.
So I pulled this cigar 3 hours ago out of the humidor.
Yeah.
It's been sitting on my desk because I haven't got a chance to smoke it yet. So, yeah. But these are quite tasty. Medium bodied, little pepper and spice. And we're running some Old Forester. What is this one?
I am not up on my Old Foresters, so I don't know.
It's the blue, I guess.
It's the original, maybe?
So,
86 proof.
Yeah, it'll work.
Tastes a little more stout than that. My ice is starting to melt a little bit now, so it's take the edge off a little bit. But I would have guessed it if it was blind. I would have guessed it in the 90s for sure. Proof wise,
yeah, it's got a little little bite to it.
Yeah,
it's pretty good. They're good flavor.
Yeah.
But yeah. So first, I want to start by thanking you guys for actually leaving some comments and giving us some topics to talk about that you guys actually want to hear.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Because you guys have touched on some stuff that normally we wouldn't have thought about. And it's nice to hear. Some of the stuff, some of the comments we have covered in the past on other platforms, but not on our podcast.
Yeah.
Like the one that really sticks out to me is I'd like to hear your explanation of the difference between the Field and Garrison blends.
We're going to go down old memory lane on this one.
Right.
And I'm just going to give you guys the whole shit show story on this one.
Well, yeah, we were kind of forced into that decision.
So, yeah, well, we originally, when we started, we had 3 blends. It was the Connecticut, the Maduro, and the Sumatra.
Yep.
Right. So the 556, 762, and 50, not in the right order. I didn't say them there. But, and we offered 2 different bands on the same cigar. You could
why though?
Well, we'll get to why.
Okay. But
you could order the Field line, and the only thing different was the band.
Yeah.
And I think some of these questions we get of,
what's the difference?
What's the difference is because in the first, year and a half, 2 years, maybe?
Probably the first 8 months.
The first 8 months we did it that way.
Yep.
So
until we switch factories.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Because then we came out with the individual, their own blends for each 6 of the cigars.
And so when we originally started, there was hint of the FDA starting this process to where they were going to say no new blends could come out unless you were grandfathered in, where you spent all this money and had this testing that nobody knew how to do it or what.
Well, you had to have a predicate date.
Right.
So you had to bring cigars to market before a certain date.
Yeah.
In order to fall into a different category of regulations that they thought they might release.
Yeah. And we were ahead of that date by a couple years, right?
Couple months.
So what we did to try to help ourselves out is we came out with 6 cigars, the 556, 762, 50 cal and Field and Garrison.
Yep. 556, 762, 50 cal and Garrison.
Yeah.
And we released them.
Yeah. But the only difference originally was the band.
So in the marketing eyes of what we did, we had 6 cigars.
Yes.
The actual difference was we had 3 different blends and the bands were on.
And the reason we did that is we were a brand new company. And so when we release a new blend now, we come out of the gate and it costs a lot of money. You have all the bands, you have all the cigars you have to make, all the boxes, all that kind of stuff, right?
But also why we didn't do it then is we didn't have 3 other blends.
We didn't.
We only had 3.
We only had 3.
But we made it look like we had 6.
Yes.
And then shortly after that, we switched factories. And
Yep.
we had Placencia started doing all of our manufacturing.
Yeah.
And that initial trip down there is when we created those other 3 blends, a Corojo Rosado and a Oscuro Maduro.
Yeah. Yep. And so, yeah, so the reasoning that we came out of the gate, and it was just 3 with 2 different bands.
Yeah.
I think that's why we still get that question every now and then,
Well, no,
which kind of
yes.
blows my mind, because that was quick and over. And
Also, what I've heard is guys will see that there's a 5.56 with a tan band
yeah,
and a 5.56 with a copper band.
right,
And they say, what's the difference between the two? They leave out the Field and the Garrison.
right.
And I think that's the confusing
okay.
part. Also,
So to answer your question, right now, today as it stands, all 6 are completely different blends.
yep.
They're all unique cigars.
And they've been that way. We've been around about 7.5 years, and they've been that way for about 6.5.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
Moving
they're
forward,
completely different. Yeah.
moving forward, we have some solutions to fix those types of issues.
Yeah.
And as those come to fruition, they'll be released and explained and
Yeah.
everything. It'll make a lot more sense.
All the blends will stay the same. We're just
Yeah.
we might remarket a little bit just to make it easier for
So
less
we-
confusion.
So we don't get that question.
so we don't get that confusion. They're all different.
But yes, right now, yeah, so we have 10 unique blends that we sell.
Yeah.
We call our core line would be the 5.56, 7.62, and 50 cal in Field, and the 5.56, 7.62, and 50 cal in Garrison. Those 6 blends are our core blends, and they're all different. And then our 4 others are also completely different.
Yeah.
But we have no 2 blends that are similar, that are alike.
No, they're very unique.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
they're everything from really mild to bolder.
Yeah.
So, and everything in between. So, I mean, if you're new to Warfighter and you don't know which Warfighter you like, I suggest you buy a sampler pack.
Yeah.
Try one of each and remember which one you like or don't like. And then, but if you smoke it and you like it and you can't remember which one it was, I can't really help you.
Then I'll tell you to go buy another 6-pack sampler or another sampler pack and try it again.
Yeah. I mean,
and hopefully you remember this time.
Yeah. So we're going to try to make it easier for people to remember.
Yep.
But yeah, they're all unique. So and that's part of the growing pains of a brand new company, right?
Yeah.
One, we couldn't have afforded to come out of the gate with 6 unique blends. There's no way.
No way.
Yeah.
No.
And so having 3 was kind of was hard enough to come out of the gate with.
I mean, and then internally for us, when we had 3, we're like, man, look at this.
Yeah. Choices.
And then we had, if I remember right, and correct me if I'm wrong, but we had a torpedo and a Churchill in each of the blends.
We did, yeah. Yeah.
Which made it even more confusing.
Yeah. But well, that's a size thing. So
but at the time, we didn't really know any better.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. So now we have all the different sizes in all of our cigars. So
yeah, lots of them.
Yeah, probably too many.
Yeah, we know which ones people don't like.
Yeah. What's your favorite size of cigar?
Yeah,
I can tell you which sizes sell better and which sizes don't sell.
Yeah.
And so, I don't know. You want to go down that rabbit hole?
I mean, that's a quick one. It's not that deep.
It's not, but
some bestsellers.
So bestseller, hands down, is a Toro.
Yeah,
it's the most common, followed shortly by the Robusto.
I see what you did there. That's a good pun.
But yeah.
Okay, so what are some of the worst sellers?
Well, we're discontinuing double Corona.
Yep.
So, and the only difference between a Robusto and a Toro is 1 inch
in length.
The
ring gauge is the same.
The only difference between a Toro and a double Corona is a double Corona is 1 inch longer.
Yep.
For some reason, they just don't sell. So that one's on the chopping block.
What are some that are that people say they like, but nobody buys them?
Well, definitely the Lancero.
Yeah.
So we've made in total Lanceros what we probably sell in a month of Toros.
I can see that.
Our overall production from ever that we've made in Lanceros.
And all 6 of the core blends.
And all 6 of the core blends is probably the same as what we sell in Toros in 1 month. And we still have shelves full of Lanceros.
Yeah.
So that's how much they don't sell.
Everybody wants one, but nobody wants to buy one.
I know, right? And I think, people who smoke a lot of cigars, they like Lanceros. I like a Lancero.
When's the last time you went and bought one? Like if you walk into a cigar shop, right, and say you're like, ooh, I've been looking to try to find this cigar. And they have 3 facings. They have a Robusto.
I'll give you an example of the way I think about this.
Okay.
So one of my favorite cigars is the Plasencia del Campo, right? I've smoked a shit ton of them.
Yeah.
I bought a Lancero of it the other day.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, you know what? I want to try it.
Okay.
But I've bought one Lancero to probably
in 3 years.
Yeah. in probably smoking 40 of them.
Yeah.
Yeah. So normally if it's sitting there, I have to know I really like the cigar, and then I want to try a little variation of it, and then I'll gravitate toward that Lancero. But Lanceros are harder to smoke. You have to smoke them at the right pace.
Yep.
Otherwise, they get too hot if you smoke them too fast.
Yeah.
If you don't smoke them fast enough, they go out.
Yeah.
Like
I always buy 2 Lanceros.
Yeah.
I destroy the first one. And I'm like, oh, I remember how to do this now.
Yeah.
And then the second one works better. Yeah.
660 is a good seller.
Yeah.
Our Corona probably isn't as doing as well as I thought.
I chalk that up in the Lancero category. There's a select few people that'll get that and smoke it. And most people don't understand that there's the flavor difference in the different size of ring gauges.
Yeah.
Because you're changing your wrapper to filler ratio.
Because if you look at this 660, right, you have one leaf that covers the whole outside, which is your wrapper.
Yep.
And then you have a lot of tobacco on the inside because it's a 60 gauge.
Yep.
Right. A Lancero, I think ours is a 38 gauge. So a little bit more than half the size around is this.
Yeah.
Right. So the wrapper quantity stays almost the same, but the fillers dramatically change in their percentage.
You get more wrapper.
Yeah.
The less filler.
Yeah.
Yep. But yeah. Another one that came in question wise is from Blake. And he asked, is there a major health risk for someone who's just getting into cigars, smoking 3 or 4 cigars a week? Well, I'm going to start this. We're not doctors. We're not lawyers. We're not giving advice. We're not giving medical advice. And we're not trying to tell you how to live your life. But the FDA put out a study.
Now, the FDA was trying to fuck the cigar industry.
And the cigar industry used this study against them.
Yes. So preference it with the FDA did a study trying to fuck the cigar industry.
No, this was previous to that.
Well, they just did a new one too.
Yeah.
Just through all this, they did
Yep.
another one. Yeah.
But so the FDA says that you can smoke cigars daily and it doesn't increase negative health effects.
Negative health effects were nil.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
but if you think about it, right? If you're comparing it to a cigarette you're inhaling into your lungs. A cigar you're not.
But there's also,
what's the ingredients in a cigar?
Tobacco. That's it.
What's the ingredients in a cigarette?
5% tobacco.
Justin,
the rest of it, I have
pull
no
up the
idea.
ingredients of a cigarette.
There's like 216 carcinogens in a cigarette or some bullshit like that. It's crazy.
Well, let's see what the Googles say.
Yeah.
I'm curious, but and so you're not inhaling it. That's the biggest thing, I think, right? You're getting nicotine, but nicotine isn't necessarily bad for you.
No, we covered that the other day.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, and then when you're smoking a cigar, what are you doing? You're getting rid of some stress. You're kicking back for a couple hours and relaxing,
Yeah. So when you're smoking something that has ammonia, acetone, butane, acetic acid, hydrogen cyanide, ethyl lactate, like I don't really want to smoke those. That's why I don't smoke cigarettes. right? Those are way different than tobacco.
Yeah.
Premium hand rolled long filler tobacco. That is it. No additives, no bullshit, no anything.
Yeah.
Like it's pure tobacco leaves.
And there's a little bit of glue, which is what?
It's a plant-based natural stickiness.
Yeah.
For lack of better words.
It's yeah. So, and how much of that is on a cigar? Like very, very little. So,
but the amount of glue that's on it isn't the way that they make the cigar. The majority of glue is on the head and the cap of the cigar.
Yeah.
So you're not technically lighting that part on fire, right?
Well, they put it on the whole wrapper almost, though.
Not really, because it's rolled inside itself, so it holds itself together.
Yeah,
but they just spread it out. They're not putting glue all over that.
Well, no, but there's still some.
Okay. I disagree with that.
If you go to a rolling table and you run your finger across it, there's definitely some.
Okay.
When
they apply glue to a leaf to get it to stick, right?
Yeah.
They apply it at the end to get the head of the cigar, and then they apply it to the cap to get the cap to stick. They don't apply it to the edge of the leaf all the way down the cigar to get the whole entire cigar to stick, because that would alter the flavor slightly.
Right.
So they don't use glue in that aspect of it. What you see on the rolling tables, it's typically moisture, water from getting that wrapper leaf wet so they can stretch it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Because they don't glue, the cigar isn't glued together.
No.
Yeah.
What else were we talking about? Oh, health effects. So one, like I wouldn't feel good about selling a product that I knew negatively affected somebody's health.
Right.
I just went, so, when we very first started Warfighter, we considered doing chewing tobacco. And, the more we thought about it, we're like, like we know too many people who had problems with chewing tobacco.
The last thing that I want to see is one of our customers missing a lower jaw.
Yeah.
No. There's another question we had come in. Fuller, Maine. Do you know of a palate cleanser to use between cigars? I enjoyed about 2 cigars a day.
Whiskey.
Yeah.
No, that's probably not a cleanser.
Not really.
What do people do? I'm
soda
sure
water.
Yeah.
A lot of people do soda water. They
what's the when you get sushi, what's the
ginger.
Ginger
works great.
Yeah.
Because ginger's designed to do that with seafood, with raw fish. Yeah. There's a bunch of stuff out there. Soda water, surprisingly, just regular carbonated water, not the flavored stuff. This works surprisingly well. And I don't know why. I think it's the bubbles. Because regular water doesn't do it. But yeah, that's what I'll use. Or typically like, I don't know. I don't know if I really pay attention to cleaning my palate in between cigars.
I think that's, I don't know.
But like, even if I've smoked back-to-back cigars,
and
I'm paying attention to both,
yeah,
I notice the drastic change. Yeah. But I don't know. Maybe I'll try it next time to try to.
If you smoke too many cigars, you're eventually it's gonna quit working. Your whole olfactory, if you will. But that's for us, that's probably 6-7 cigars in a day. And after that, it's
right. And then it's going through the motions.
Yeah.
Let's see what else.
The top one there.
The top one. Why do cigars make your mouth dry? Bad cotton mouth in the night after smoking. Anything that can stop that. So this 2 parts to this. I'm going to talk about something that has absolutely nothing to do with why the cigar does it first. If you're getting bad cotton mouth later in the evening after smoking a cigar, it's typically because of diet or dehydration. If your mouth is going to get dry from smoking that cigar, it's going to do it while you're smoking it.
Yeah.
right? If it's after the fact, it could be because of so many other factors.
Like the 15 bourbons.
That could be a thing, but typically it's because of dehydration.
Yeah.
But if you're smoking a cigar and if your mouth starts to feel dry while you're smoking it, that can be directly correlated to the cigar. And a lot of it has to do with the types of tobacco and the location where the tobacco is grown, and what was in the soil, which ultimately gets into the leaf, which once you burn it, you in turn get that flavor. But that happens to me with a lot of Dominican tobacco.
Yep, I was going to say that.
Yeah.
I look at that too. And a lot of people, I think it is magnified when you're drinking because of the dehydration.
Yeah, I can see that. Because
you have to think back to like, have I ever had cottonmouth not smoking a cigar?
Yeah. But then there's the opposite side of the spectrum too. I've had conversations with guys that are like, I can't smoke cigars because my mouth just waters the entire time. Huh. Like I take a drag and I have to spit. I look left, I have to spit. I look back right, I have to spit. Like it just fills my mouth up with saliva. And they're like, well, what do I do if I go into a shop and this is like this? I'm like, bring a spitter. And they're like, what? And I'm like, yeah, like guys who chew tobacco, chew. They have like a soda can or something and they spit into that, put the cap back on, and hold it there. I'm like, there you go.
I think that's something you'd probably get used to.
I don't know. And I need way more information about that. But that was the easy fix,
right?
Like just spit into a cup and then you're fine, but
if I smoke a cigar and it makes my mouth more moist, I'm not going to say like, or I have to spit, but it's usually because I think it's a good cigar.
Yeah. Your taste buds are going nuts because they enjoy the flavor.
Yeah, I think so.
Right.
I mean, I've had that on occasion, but yeah.
Yep.
But yeah, the cigar, there's cigars that I've smoked where you can, on like the third puff, you're like, oh, fuck, my mouth is dry.
Yeah.
Yep. And I don't necessarily enjoy those as much.
Not really. It's almost like a chalky taste.
Yeah. Like a powdery.
Yep. So I think we covered some of the main ones that we got coming in. We got one left. I'd like to hear about how you develop the blends for Warfighter cigars or blends of Warfighter cigars. So there's a couple different ways. There's one way that we found is extremely authentic, but also stubborn. And that is, I want this cigar.
Yeah.
I want this wrapper. I want this binder. I want these fillers. I want it this size. And send it down to the factory to have them make samples. The downfall with doing that is we have access to probably 160, 170 different types of tobacco.
Yeah.
Right. The combinations of those are in the trillions of how many different types of blends we can make for
and then
cigars.
you go into the percentages of the combinations.
That's why I said it's in the trillions.
It's crazy, yeah.
Right. But about, I don't know, 98.7% of those trillions of combinations are fucking dog turds.
Yeah.
And these master rollers, these master blenders at the factories that they've been doing tobacco and cigars their entire life, 40, 50 years. That's all they know.
Yeah.
You can give them a list of, okay, I want this is my wrapper, this is my binder, here's my fillers. And they can look at it and be like, you don't want that.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, I do. And they're like, no, you don't.
Yeah.
And you're like, I do. So then they make it for you and you go and you smoke it and you're like, what the fuck? This thing sucked.
Yeah.
And they're like, I told you. So instead of going through that process and wasting everybody's time, we typically come up with a strength. We come up with a wrapper, a general filler regions that we enjoy.
Yeah.
And then we make a series of cigars using those in different ratios. And we find the best one we like out of that. And then we go back and we start tweaking and adjusting and changing tobaccos out of it.
For example, I thought I was getting fairly decent at blending. Mm-hmm. I sent our guy at the factory, Gonzalo, I sent him exactly what I wanted.
Yep.
And he made it for me.
Yeah.
And then I said, hey, make me a couple variations of this, and then something, you're kind of seeing what I'm trying to do here. Then, you come up with one too, and, we'll kind of go from there. And we got to the factory, and not only was it unanimous on the one we liked the best, it was unanimous on the one that was the worst, which is the one that I sent him all the ingredients exactly to make.
That you would make this one.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that was the worst one.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so your factory, I mean, it's a big part of the blending. Like, our guy Gonzalo, he's been making cigars for what, 50 years?
Fuck. He's mid-70s.
Yeah.
Probably longer. Well, yeah, probably about that.
Yeah.
That was his sole job.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, and another time I told him, hey, make me this cigar. And he's like, it won't burn.
Yeah.
He's like, no, it won't. No, he's like, you don't want that one. I'm like, why? He's like, it won't burn right. And I'm like, okay, I believe you because you've been doing this a lot longer than me.
But show me.
But now make me 10. Make me 10 of them. I want to see it. And he was right. You have to. Not only do you, even if you know exactly the flavors of tobacco you want, right? You can't necessarily use them all together.
But you also have to know where to put them in the cigar to get the cigar to burn.
Right. Yeah. So if you have the thick leaves, that you put in there and you try to use all of that, it's not going to burn right.
Yeah.
Or if you put like the big thin leaves that burn really well. Yeah. If you put that one right in the middle, then it's going to burn that one right down the middle, like a fuse, So, so you have to, there's way more to it than just the flavors. Yeah. That's for sure.
Yep. So when we're blending a cigar, why are we doing that blend? Is there a reason why the blends that we have made were made?
I think so.
Why do you think so?
Well, I think initially when we started the company, we're trying to hit different strength profiles to meet, so, if we had all super strong cigars, then that's the only market we would have.
Right.
I wanted to have a cigar for everybody. And so I think that's why we, have, I think now though, we've had that for a while.
Yeah.
And so now the cigars that we're coming out with are usually something that I'll be honest, the San Andreas, right? Like I want a fucking San Andreas because I like San Andreas.
Yeah.
So we're making the next cigar is going to be a San Andreas, right? Like that was my mindset on that one.
Right.
It wasn't any bolder than our other one. I don't think, but I think it's just because I like the flavor of the San Andreas.
Yeah.
So, so I think we're getting to the point now where it's, it just comes down to what we don't have and what we want.
Yeah. Are we making them solely because it's something that we want? Are we making, does the market have anything to do with it or market trends?
Well, yeah, I think the market's important. Like there's a couple of our cigars that I don't smoke a lot of because I like a bolder,
right,
more complex cigar. And so like, I think like I don't smoke a lot of our Connecticut and Sumatras. Occasionally I do, and I enjoy them when I do.
Yeah.
It's just not my go-to.
And those are my go-tos.
Yeah. So I'm always on the at least medium to full bodied cigar. Yeah.
And I thoroughly enjoy medium and full body cigars. I think I just like the flavor profiles of the Connecticut and the Sumatra. Because I think at this point, the strength for me isn't something that I use to pick a cigar. Like I don't like, I need a fucking bold cigar right now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm more like, I'm looking for this type of a flavor profile on this type of turn, this time of day while I'm drinking this or eating this, or, I've already had these cigars or whatever it is.
Yeah.
But I think for me, it more comes down to the flavors that I'm trying to find.
So
versus the strength.
I'm going to describe a cigar.
Mm-hmm.
and you tell me if you agree with my assessment.
Okay.
So we have one cigar that is good. It tastes good. It's good flavored.
Yeah.
There's zero complexity to it.
Okay.
It's the same all the way through.
Mm-hmm.
You probably know which one I'm talking about.
Yeah, I had it for breakfast.
Yeah.
It's our Sumatra.
Yeah. So when I say I like a more complex cigar,
yeah,
I like it where the flavors are you have to work for them just a little bit. They're not just like, this is your flavor.
Yeah.
It's like Dr. Pepper. There's 23 flavors, right?
You're just trying to find out where in that bottle that one flavor is.
Yeah. Like I want to name all 23 flavors.
Yeah.
Where I think the Sumatra is more of a grape Kool-Aid kind of thing. It's one flavor.
What you trying to say about grape Kool-Aid?
It's delicious.
I mean, you're not wrong with it. Maybe that's why I like it, because I know every time I pick up that cigar, I know it, like, boom, start to finish, this is what it is. And it pairs phenomenally with coffee.
Mm-hmm. And I don't drink a lot of coffee.
I drink a shitload. I live on it. Yeah.
And what do you think our most complex cigar is?
Out of everything that we have?
Yeah.
Ooh. You know what? I'm going to have to go back to back on these and see, because I'm going to put probably our Night Shift and our Victory together on those.
Yeah.
Those two, I think, have the most, what's the word I'm looking for? Minute flavors.
Yeah.
You can pick out all kinds of fun stuff out of those two different cigars. Yeah.
I think for me, it's hands down. Well, I'm going to change mine up.
Okay.
Just to be cynical. Our dumpster fire cigar is by far the most complex. Every time I smoke one, it's a little different, John.
That's true. That's what happens with a mix filler. That's what happens.
So we should probably talk about that for people who don't know what we're talking about.
Yeah. So our dumpster fire cigar, which was supposed to be released in 2020 because it was a dumpster fire of a year. It never actually came out until 2021 because that's how bad 2020 was. But our dumpster fire is our version of a Cuban sandwich, which is a mixed filler cigar. We use the trimmings of all the rest of our blends of cigars, and put a couple pieces of long leaf tobacco as a filler to hold everything together for construction, and a nice Habano wrapper, and it is literally a dumpster fire of a cigar. So when all the scraps that we're going to get thrown in the dumpster, we're not putting in a cigar, and you light them on fire.
Yeah. So when John says the trimmings, right? So when they have a half of a leaf, and when they make the wrapper, they cut off part of half of that leaf.
Yep.
That's the trimming.
That goes in the dumpster.
Well, they roll it, and the end is all.
Yeah. Say we're making
it's not even
660,
yeah.
Right? When they roll that cigar, it's probably 6.5 to 7.5 inches in length.
Yeah.
And so they put it in a cutter that's built to length, and they slide it in, and it cuts exactly 6 inches. That little chunk they cut off at the end, that gets thrown in the dumpster.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then like when they make the cap, right? They're cutting a hole out. Well, actually, that's part of the wrapper leaf.
Yeah. But still, the part that they don't use, that gets in the dumpster.
Yeah. If there's a construction issue on a cigar and it doesn't pass quality control.
They say they spread out a wrapper leaf and it's got a tear or a hole in it and they can't use it. They don't throw it away. It just goes in that dumpster.
Yeah.
And then they take that, they mix it all together, they dry it because, a lot of that's had added moisture during the rolling process for the other cigars. So they dry it and then it goes back into rolling and it's still hand rolled.
Yeah.
With the two long leaf filler pieces.
So normally you bunch, say 4 or 5 leaves up, and they're whole leaves.
Yeah.
But in this one, all of its different lengths, so it's like you're sprinkling in tobacco.
Yeah.
So so that's why the flavor changes on the dumpster fires, because you don't know exactly which scraps are in.
Yeah, you have all different types.
Because they mix all of it. So yeah.
But they're actually really good. It's still all good, high quality tobacco. It's just smaller pieces of it instead of big, long, complete leaves.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's your favorite size of cigar? Do you have a favorite? Do you have a preference?
It changes.
I don't have like, I won't walk into a humidor and be like, I only smoke a 5.5 by 46. What do you have in that size?
Yeah.
But if I see something or somebody's like, hey, we just got these cigars in.
Yeah.
Here's 3 different sizes that are on the shelf. Which one would you typically pick?
Yeah.
There could be any of them. I'm not going to give you sizes. You tell me out of 3 random sizes that could be there, which one would you prefer to grab every time?
You know what really dictates that for me is how long I'm going to be at a place.
Okay.
If I know I'm there for hours, right, I'm going to probably grab the biggest one up to a 660.
Right.
I won't smoke anything bigger than a 660.
No.
But lately I've been enjoying a lot of 660s. And I think followed up by that, my next favorite's probably the Corona size.
Yeah. I
don't ever smoke a lot of them though. I forget we have them, I think.
Really?
I should smoke. I should smoke more of them.
Yeah.
You know, but most of what I smoke is Toro because it's like,
because everybody makes one.
Everybody makes one. Yeah.
I like the smaller ring gauges. If I can go anywhere from like 42 to 48 ring gauge in that area, I will typically gravitate more towards that. Kind of like what I was saying earlier. When I'm picking a cigar, I'm not looking for strength. I'm looking for the flavors that I'm trying to get out of.
Yeah.
I think that's why I gravitate more towards those sizes. Like 660s, it's very rare that I will go pick one up in a humidor to go hang out and smoke one.
Yeah.
Like I'd rather grab 2 of those smaller ring gauge cigars, my personal preference, and get the flavors out of those than for the longevity.
Yeah.
But then again, there's days where I walk in here and I go grab a double Corona because it's 7 inches long.
Yeah.
And I know this is going to last me maybe 2 hours if I'm busy, you know? So I do occasionally gravitate to sizes based on time or what I have going on. But if it was just all-time favorite, I would probably go somewhere in that 42 to 48 ring gauge.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
What's our Corona? 46?
48. Excuse me. 5.5 by 46. You're
46.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep. And then night shift's a 50.
Yeah. We kind of wanted to split the difference.
Dumpster fire's a 50. A Robusto.
I really like the size of the night shift.
I do too.
That 50, I really like that size.
And it's our Robusto Toro is a 52.
Yeah.
So it's not, and our Victory is a 54, which is funny. And you're like, oh, that's not that big. That's not that much of a difference. But you put them next to each other. Like that's a 54 and that's a 50.
So I don't know if you can see
it's really hard to see, but you can feel the difference.
Yeah.
And it's not that much. Yeah.
It's the difference between a pinky and a not pinky. The 660 is a thumb. Like
a pinky and a not pinky. Well, we covered the majority of the questions. Justin, you got anything else that we haven't didn't put on a list?
I don't. I actually have a question for myself, boys.
Ask yourself.
Well, it's for y'all.
Oh,
I was in the DR this summer and traveling around, and they had a few places that sold cigars and stuff. Unfortunately, a lot of them didn't maintain the humidor very well. I was at a resort, so they weren't super into it. But
now, in a country like that, you might not have to, depending on the humidity that's in the country.
Yeah, very true. So. But when y'all are traveling abroad, what are the things you keep an eye out? Because I noticed a couple of them where I was like, I might have a cracked wrapper. I don't think it'd been properly humidified for a hot minute, so I just didn't bother with it. What are the things y'all look for when you're traveling abroad and find maybe a little cigar place?
I look for the worst fake Cubans I could find, and it's gold. So typically, I don't buy cigars when I'm traveling abroad. Mainly because it's a lot of the countries, a lot of my travel lately has been Central America.
Yeah.
And a lot of the countries in Central America have unbelievably high import tax rates for premium cigars.
Did you go to that cigar shop in Mexico City?
I did. It fucking rocked me with the prices.
Yeah.
And I didn't even look. I just grabbed the cigars that I wanted because they had that was one of the few shops in Mexico that is like legit real Cuban cigars.
Oh, yeah.
And they're part of a Series D number 4. So
like, that's what I had too.
Perfect. Grab 2 of those. Those cigars are normally what? 20, 20 to 30 a stick.
Yeah.
I think they were $60 a stick at this place.
Woo,
Yeah.
wow.
And I didn't even see it. I got
Yeah.
my tab. We had a couple drinks, 2 cigars. I had a $300 tab. I was like, oh, that hurt.
Yeah. In Mexico
In
City.
Mexico
you
City.
think you're going to be saving money.
Yeah. No, not there.
So, no, if I go somewhere, usually I'm bringing my own cigars.
If we go into a cigar lounge or shop
Yeah.
and we're going to hang out, we're not just being like, oh, this is cool. Hey, thanks for letting us look around.
Yeah.
If we're going to hang out, we will buy a cigar.
Absolutely.
Every single
Yeah,
time.
yeah.
Doesn't matter where we're at. We went into some place in Panama City.
Yeah. And all they had was their own
brand.
their own blend. Yeah. House
And
blend.
I don't know where they got it from. And I don't know how you're going to base a lounge off of it.
No, it wasn't a great cigar.
But we bought the cigars. We
Yeah.
had our own. We
Yeah.
brought our own. But we bought cigars. We smoked those in
Yeah.
the lounge. But pretty much anywhere else that we'll go that has cigars for sale, if we're going to
Yeah.
hang out there, we're going to go buy them.
That was a really nice cigar lounge.
It was. They could have done so much with that.
Yeah.
Besides having their own. That
I mean, I get it, but they
yeah.
should do at least a 50-50 mix.
Yeah. Somebody down there just needs to do it right,
Yeah.
and they would crush it. There's so many Americans.
Yeah.
You know, but like when we go to Nicaragua, I think there's one cigar lounge in Esteli. I've never been to it,
Yeah, I haven't either.
and I don't even know if it's still open.
There's a new cigar shop we saw the last time we went there. Just as you're getting into Esteli, there was a cigar store.
But that's what I was talking about. I don't know if it's still open or not, because that opened up before COVID,
Oh.
and then COVID hit,
Yeah.
and then I don't know if it's still open. But
But
if you're going to Esteli, you're not going to go to a cigar shop. You're going to go to the factories.
it might not be everybody.
Why?
No,
if you're going down there, okay.
Yeah, you're right.
If you're going down, you're not just going to walk up to JC Newman and be like, hey, I Googled you guys. Can I get a tour?
You can. But
If you arrange it before you get there, that tour is going to be way better.
But what you can't do is walk into a factory and buy cigars.
You can't. No, you can't do
You
that.
can't do it.
But
So-
by the time you get done with that tour, you have enough cigars for a day or two to smoke.
It's true. That's true.
Like if you're going there to visit factories in Esteli, primarily, you're typically not going to go buy cigars.
I
from
think
a lounge or
if a cigar lounge was done correctly in Esteli, it would work.
But it would only work during the growing seasons when they're doing factory tours down there. Because
but imagine you have a place for everybody to go hang out and smoke
the
cigars.
local economy
afterward.
can't support it.
I mean all
local.
the factory owners and the factory, like all the managers, all the Gonzalez.
Everyone that's been down there, they've tried and they don't.
Yeah.
It doesn't work because all these guys, they just grab their own cigars and they go hang out at their own houses at the bar.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
yeah.
Like it's unique down
Yeah.
there in that aspect of it.
And as far as humidification goes, in Nicaragua, it's hard to keep your cigar burning
Yeah.
because it's just so humid all the time.
But like when I go to Honduras, when I go to Roatan on the island, there's cigar shops,
Yeah.
no humidors,
Right.
right? And it's their own brand.
Yeah.
And it's just factory knockoffs they buy from some
Right.
factory in Honduras. And they're overpriced dog turds. But you can't smoke in there, you can't hang out. They don't have that environment, you
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they're overpriced. Not maintained,
Yeah.
you know? And so I don't know. If I find a place that has good cigars, I'm probably going to buy some. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's, I don't know if you're, I don't want to go down the fake Cuban rabbit hole. That's deep. I don't even want to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, like when we went to Jamaica, we brought our own. When we went to the Bahamas, we brought our own. Like,
Well, because when we were in Jamaica, we stopped at that one store, remember? And they had had a cabinet style humidor.
Yeah.
And they had the shittiest of shitty fake Cubans selling them for like $40, $50 a stick.
Yeah.
And it's just like, come on, guys. You know, like you're taking advantage of people.
Well, probably because they can.
Well, the whole island of Jamaica, all they do is take advantage of tourists.
Oh, that's true.
They don't realize that if they're just good to them, that like I'll never go back.
I'll never go back to Jamaica.
But if they were good to me and I had a great time, I'd probably go back. But because of the people, not the resort, not the things we did on the resort, none of that stuff. The few times that we went out.
Our driver was a good dude.
No, he wasn't. Fuck that guy. Seriously. Hey, man, we're going to give you extra money. We're going to tip you fat. We don't want to do the typical tourist bullshit. Okay, man, no problem.
Yeah.
Where's the first place he takes us? The outdoor fucking vendor mall.
Yeah.
Tourist fucking trap. As soon as he stopped, I'm like, fuck you, dude. He talked a lot, but he didn't do anything we asked him to do.
He did confirm the actual cost of weed in Jamaica was like in the cents. And they sold it for a lot.
And it was they have American weed and they have Jamaican weed. And they're two different qualities. It's like the difference between a long filler cigar and short filler.
Yeah. Well, I think the reason we got into that conversation is everywhere you turn around, people are trying to sell you drugs in Jamaica. And, so I'm like being an entrepreneur, right? I'm like, hey, everybody in this whole country has drugs to sell. How much does it cost them? Versus how much they're selling it for. And he's like, oh, it's terrible stuff. And it costs this, you know? So yeah, but yeah, what,
I'm trying to think of what other humidors I've went into. I mean, I've gone into humidors in Europe,
but
that's different. That's like walking into a humidor in the States, except you have Cuban cigars there too. But the fad isn't there like it is here.
Yeah.
Where everybody in America is like Cuban cigars. In Europe, they're like, yeah, you can get those dog turds if you want. Yeah. Like they're honest about them, but they're like, but these American cigars are delicious. Yeah. It's so funny.
Yeah.
I remember,
good.
I was going to say, I remember when I was young, I was living in New England. I used to go to Canada because I could get Cubans. And this is before I knew any better about any of it.
Yeah.
This is back high schoolish, a little shortly after high school. And because you can buy Cubans in Canada and they don't care.
Yeah.
And then when you get back into the States, you think you're fucking king shit. Because you're like, oh, I got these Cubans. Look at these things, and it's just like, oh, yeah. Now I'm like, whoop-de fucking do.
Yeah.
Like, the only reason they're cool is because you can't buy them in the States.
Yeah. Yeah. So we got a couple events coming up.
We do. We got some fun ones. So we'll just kind of go in order. November 11th, Veterans Day. We'll be at Spring Street Cigars in all over Mississippi. But their main shop is in Tupelo, Mississippi. And they do what they call a first responder event. And so for that entire day at any one of their locations, swing by. If you're a veteran, first responder, law enforcement, firefighter, EMT, anything like that, swing by one of their shops, let them know what you did, and you get a free cigar and a free drink.
Yep. It happens to be a Warfighter cigar.
Yeah. And it's a phenomenal event. What they're doing and why they're doing it is awesome. And they're great people. So I'll be out in Mississippi for that on the 11th. Our next event that we have is on November 18th. We actually have two events that day.
Yeah.
We'll be at 3D Cigars in Colorado,
which will be the first
Warfighter event at the only Warfighter lounge in the United States. At 3D Cigars, and
that's in Colorado Springs.
I think that's the Pueblo one. Pueblo.
Oh yeah, Pueblo. Yeah,
Pueblo. I don't know how to say that. It's a weird word.
Pueblo.
You'll find it. And then we also have something going on here in San Antonio at 4 Nines. And I heard through the grapevine that Horse Soldier might be there.
Yeah.
To kind of do a little joint event. But that'll be fun. That's on the 18th. 4 Nines is located on the north side of San Antonio. And I will not be there for that. I will be in Colorado.
Yeah. I'm not sure which one I'll be at
yet. Yeah. And then the next following week after that is Scott's birthday, which also happens to be Thanksgiving. And then that at midnight kicks off our Black Friday sale.
Oh, yeah.
So our Black Friday sale is going to be for Friday only.
You know what? Right before midnight, from 11 to midnight. I want a Scott's birthday sale.
Oh, we can do that. Yeah. We do a flash sale for an hour. Oh, I got some ideas for this. Yeah.
62% off because that's how old I'll be. No. Just kidding.
You're close.
According to my age, we would have to pay you guys.
Yeah, right. But like you place this order, we're also going to give you like, I don't know, $1,800.
It's a carryover joke from the Freedom Friends podcast.
Yep. But no, so our Black Friday sale kicks off at midnight, Thanksgiving. Runs all day on the 24th, ends midnight on obviously Friday, the 24th. That is our biggest sale that we ever do, is that one 24-hour period. And then we might have some fun stuff going Saturday and Sunday. And then Monday is Cyber Monday. And Cyber Monday is always fun.
Don't wait for Cyber Monday, though. The Black Friday one.
So we will have stuff going on starting midnight.
Yeah.
Starting first thing Friday.
Yeah.
All throughout the weekend, ending Cyber Monday at midnight.
Yeah.
So depending on what time of that weekend you decide that you want to make a purchase, there will be a discount available for you. Look on the top of the website. There should be a little announcement bar up there with the code and the percentage. But it's going to be constantly changing throughout the weekend. And it's not that it starts big and goes low, because it's constantly changing. So just pay attention. And you'll see. But I would recommend that Black Friday is a good day to pay attention.
And it's on our new website.
Oh, yeah.
If you haven't seen our new website.
Yeah.
So have we got any corrections about the new website yet? I think we talked about it the other day. We asked for people to.
Yeah. We haven't had anything yet. So I guess we're doing something right. We also pointed out the one thing we got to work on. Yeah. So, but other than that, I think people are digging the new website.
Yeah. I think we got another one coming up too after that. It is maybe we don't. I don't have anything else on my calendar.
There's something in December.
That's what I was looking at. Oh, December 7th and 8th and 9th. What? Okay. Is Historic Smoke in Culpeper, Virginia. Yep. That's going to be a great event with Mike Goshen out there. That'll be really fun. He's got a great job. But yeah, I think that's kind of all I have going until the end of the year, because then we run into Christmas and New Year's and all that fun stuff. End of year bullshit. I do have Hawaii cigar event saved in here. I don't know why. I think it was a conversation we had with somebody at some point.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
boys, can y'all elaborate on the new Warfighter Lounge out there in 3Ds? At 3Ds?
Yeah. So 3Ds asked us if we wanted to sponsor a lounge. And I went out and hung out with them, I don't know, 6 months ago maybe. And good group of guys, good customers. We had a great time. Very patriotic, pro-military guys. And they asked if they could do a Warfighter themed lounge. And so we agreed and supplied them with some cool art and I think they have our ashtrays. So
ashtrays. We got some artwork on the walls, and then they carry all blends and sizes that Warfighter has to offer.
The whole line.
Yeah.
So go support those guys if you're in the Colorado Springs, Pueblo area. Mm-hmm. They have two shops. So the one in Pueblo is the themed lounge, and then they have one in Colorado Springs too.
The Pueblo is a new one.
Yeah.
Yep.
So,
but
yeah.
Trying to think. That's it for events. Yeah. Right now, between now and the end of the year, after the first of the year, we got some shit coming up. We got plenty of time to talk about that.
Maybe I'll squeeze in a Nebraska event while I'm up there.
Yeah.
We'll see.
I'll try to figure that out. But yeah. So that was episode 4. It was really fun.
What's that?
That was really fun.
Yo, episode 4.
Tune in for more fun stuff. Leave a comment. Let us know what you have questions on, what you want us to talk about, what you want to hear from us.
Who do you want on the show?
Yeah, tag all the people you want to come live on this. Not live, but come record.
Yeah. They should be in the veteran or cigar space, or preferably both.
Yeah.
Cool. So,
and if they're not, it'll be a very interesting conversation.
Yeah.
Like, you smoke cigars? No.
All right then.
Like,
serve in the military?
No.
No.
Cool. That's all we have for today. But yeah. Make sure you follow us on social medias. Warfighter Tobacco on Instagram, Warfighter Tobacco Company on Facebook, Warfighter Tobacco on X, Twitter. What do I call it now?
Formerly known as Twitter.
Okay.
Yeah. Warfighter Co. on there.
Yep. And then Warfighter Co. on TikTok also.
Yes. Yeah, we have been throwing up some clips. And also we have our new series, Minute of Your Time.
Yeah.
We got a couple episodes out with these two fine gentlemen you see on the screen. So go check those out if you want to learn more about these guys.
Yeah.
All right.
And yeah, until next week.
Yeah.
Cheers, brother.
Cheers.